Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is BryanCPSteele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Hi everybody, how are you? I've got a great episode for you today. We'll run through a quick week in Bryan. Quick because there hasn't been a lot going on apart from some video games and kind of end of the year work stuff. But we did get to make a really cool announcement, of which I'll reiterate here. So let's see. Let's just get things started. It is, let's see, what are we going to start with? Painting. I have done none. I've done zero painting. I primed something and put it on my desk, and it is very daunting. It is a very large model, and I know that I'm up to the task, and I know I've got a concept in mind, and I know what I want to do, but it is, there's just so much else going on right now that I don't want to sit and have to work at something so large and important to the army in question. So it'll happen. I'm not going to wait forever like I did with the battle mechs, but I need to make it happen. I'm also waiting on some 3D printed models for my niece's D&D game that I actually gifted her the painting of them last year, but we're just now getting the models made, and we're just now getting that process along. But I'm waiting on those from my printer guy, because my printer is, as you know, dead. So when that happens, I'll have a little bit more impetus to get back to into the paint chair and get that up and running. Let's see, what else? Nothing painting wise. Gaming wise, I didn't really get any like tabletop gaming in. I did a couple of playtest games for some Warzone stuff, but nothing. One was absolutely 100% so early in the process. I dreamt up a mechanic to use with honestly with one of the Dark Eden tribes way in the future, and I wanted to sit down and see how that mechanic would work. So I went ahead and proxied up a couple of forces, and the mechanic works really well. I'm really happy with the how the mechanic functions. But it was one of those things where it's like when the game was over, I was like, all right, cool, that mechanic works. It's going to be years before anybody sees this. So it did make me a little, I won't say sad, but it was definitely, it's a reality slap when it comes to that. But I did get a couple of games in, so that was good. I replay tested a tweaked version of one of the models that already has been not teased, but the preliminary stats have already been released for him, and I went ahead and got a newer version of him on the table and tried him out in a way that the former version had been pointed at several times, that it might be unfun to play against. So Alex and I made some tweaks, and I got him back on the table and specifically tried to do the unfun way with the new version, and it felt okay. So I think it's the right change to make. The only other game that I've really been playing a lot of, dipping my toes, no pun intended, back into Sea of Thieves. Now that there are servers where I don't have to deal with jerks that just want to sink your boat. But primarily, I have been playing a ton of Baldur's Gate 3. I know, everybody's like, oh my god, everyone plays that game. Well, I was waiting for it to show up on the consoles, and now that it's out for my Xbox, I have been playing a lot of it. It really does live up to the hype. I know on several social media sites, I gave the game a little bit of or rather, I gave the fans of the game a little bit of grief because every time I talked to anybody about that game, the only thing they could talk about is how thirsty their characters were and which character are you snogging. You know, like it had nothing to do with gameplay. It had nothing to do with you know, the graphics, the engine, the, you know, how close is it to 5e, you know, like it didn't talk about the game. It just talked about which characters were screwing which characters. And it turned me off of the game. It made me go, you know what? I don't want to play a dating sim. I want to play a D&D adventure game with awesome graphics and things. Now, the good news here is that it is. It really, really is. It's a fantastic game. It's got a couple of glitchiness things. There's a few things that if I were technically savvy and I could go in and change stuff, I would. But overall, it's an amazing game. It's very well written. I do wish that you could just avoid some of the conversations that are like so obviously aimed at, hey, let's get these two characters to bone. It's unnecessary, and I don't see why you have to add it in every single stupid game now. But I guess gamers want to watch cartoon porn. I don't know. But all that being said, all that aside, it is an amazing game, and I've been putting a lot of hours into it in my spare time, obviously. However, what makes me extra happy about this game is that since combat is turn-based and the camera angle allows you to alter it so you can look at it from farther back and you're not first person looking, Natalie can actually play it, and in fact has been playing it a lot. She is really obsessed with the game, which is awesome. I love to see her happy, and I love to see her find cool stuff that she can dive into, especially D&D wise, because you know, as one of my DMs, as one of my dungeon masters, and you know, she's world building her own world, and she's, you know, running her own game, and she plans to like play in other games at like Gary Con and things like that. It's kind of cool to see what this game can kind of what it really does it can kind of teach about 5e. Because it does have great action economy. It has, you know, like I said, the controls are a little wonky from time to time. The camera angles are definitely weird. But when it comes to the mechanics of how they're running things, it really is fantastic. And I think that there are going to be a lot of people who learn some of the smaller nuances of D&D next, when that comes out next year. Or 1D&D or whatever they're calling it, because I have a sneaking spaghetti. I have a sneaky spaghetti. I have a sneaking suspicion that some of those mechanics that are a little different than straight up 5e, I think Larian Studios may have gotten kind of the, hey, this is what, you know, 1D&D is going to be doing next year. You might want to do it this way. I could be wrong, but I do think that that's probably the case. Either way, it's a great game. It's amazing. Even if you don't want to have a D&D dating sim and you just want to focus on awesome adventures and stuff, it's a great game. You totally should get it. Support more games that are comprehensive, extensive, and not multiplayer or mini transaction driven. Yeah, so that's all the gaming. Personal things are doing great. Actually, I had a handful of days where I couldn't get to the gym. Our car was in the shop. It was just all over the place. Combine that with a couple of days of, you know, birthday dinners and you know, celebratory dinners for my kid. My kid got into a pre-college program at school that you had to like sign up for and be accepted into and stuff. And so I'm really proud of him. So we went out to special dinner, and it was a rough weekend, early part of the week, when it comes to what I was eating, and then I couldn't get to the gym for a couple times. So I felt like I was just falling off the wagon, and I was like, oh, no, this is going to be bad. Well, I stepped on the scale this morning, and I'm actually lower than I was before that week of madness. So I don't know if maybe it was just a bunch of water weight or whatever, but I'm still on track. I'm still doing well. I went to the gym yesterday. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. Yeah, so no, things are still good. I was getting a little disheartened, and when I stepped on the scale this morning, I thought that I was going to be that it was going to be a bad morning, that it was going to be, oh God, I hate to see that number. And quite the opposite. So cheers to that. Cheers to the human body. Occasionally needing a reminder that things are awesome. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not a dietitian. I am definitely not some kind of like. Why am I so high up in the thing? Sorry, my camera was all wackadoo. Also, so by this time, when this movie comes out, when this video comes out, hopefully, if all goes well, I will have already seen Aquaman 2. So it's no. God, yeah, no, that's even worse. It's all washed out now. Gosh, my camera's all wonky. There we go. I found my setting. Yay! It's no question that I am a massive Aquaman fan. He's my favorite DC character. And I particularly love, while I love pretty much every rendition of the character thus far, I particularly love Zack Snyder's version that has carried through into the James Wan versions. And I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing the movie. I understand there's a lot of people that are like, why? It looks like crap, blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever. I firmly believe the critics are crazy. Right now there's so much more money, critic-wise, website-wise, clickbait-wise, to be hyperbolic and to say mean things about a movie, unless you're trying to get invited to a Disney premiere. All right, so let's take my movie critics conspiracy hat off. Also, this week, by this time, a lot of you will have seen Rebel Moon on Netflix. While the lawsuit between Evil Genius and Netflix is still ongoing concerning our Rebel Moon role-playing game that they contracted us to make, and we got to work with Zack Snyder to help flesh out the world and all of these great things. While that lawsuit is still going on, I cannot talk about it openly with details and stuff, but I will say this: I am very excited to see the movie. I'm more excited to see the uncut version because that's the scripts that I read. But I'm very happy with what I've seen so far, and there's no secret that movie critics they love to get the engagement of the Snyderverse and the restore the Snyder cult, as people sometimes say it, by saying mean things about him. And there's business and clicks to be, there's money to be made by getting people arguing on your website about a film. And combine that with the fact that the movie studios, a lot of them are not very happy with the fact that Zack Snyder managed and his fan base managed to get a movie created that the producers of the movie did not want to create. That a lot of the movie critics say that it sets a bad precedent. Blah 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 blah. What I will say here is, please watch it and keep an open mind that, again, not every movie is supposed to be this grandiose Oscar-winning. Sometimes it's fun to just make the original Star Wars. Hell, the original Star Wars trilogy was, pulpy schlock. You go back and look at that, and but it created a massive. It created a 45-year-long fan base, multi-billion dollars deep. And the original movie was definitely not an art film. It wasn't going to win any Oscars. It wasn't very deep. It was good guys versus bad guys with some flashy swords. And that's what Zack makes now. That's really, is he capable of making deeper movies? Absolutely. But that's not what he wants to make. He wants to make fun, movies that are visually appealing, and they tell a very, I don't want to say simple story, but that they tell a story, and that story often is the good guys go up against the bad guys because the bad guys are bad and need to be dealt with. That's what Rebel Moon, a lot of this is. There's more to it, and there's string theories and connectivity tissues to like Army of the Dead, and all of that's there, and I can't talk about any of that because until I know this whole Netflix litigation thing and how much of a gag order we actually are going to have, I don't know. But regardless, I implore you to watch the movie, make your mind up for yourself as to whether or not it does what it says on the tin. And just remember that the critics say what they say a lot of times because they want to try and get a rise, and they want to get eyes on their websites. They want to get their articles to get 1 billion likes, because or at least 1 billion engagements, because that's what keeps them employed. That's what makes the money for their websites. And so rather than going at something neutrally and saying, and just giving a good solid like Leonard Maltin style movie review, it is better to say, ugh, this is terrible, it's awful, it's the worst thing ever, it's another Snyder fail, because it gets people talking, it gets people clicking, and it's a problem. But more on that for another day. Maybe I'll do an episode specifically on reviews and reviewers, and we'll go into that. I don't know. Well, please take a look at that. I'm going to go see Aquaman. I'm going to watch Rebel Moon. It's going to be a great weekend for movies. It is also, by the way, Christmas weekend. For those of you who celebrate such things, or even the people who don't celebrate Christmas for religious reasons, I always look at it as, just like I don't care about President's Day. I am not a veteran, but I take Veterans Day off. It's, am I going to go plant a tree on Arbor Day? No. Maybe I would. I don't know. I view a lot of times some of these holidays is in the same way that turns of phrase change, that a holiday also can lose its original meaning. You can keep that original meaning if you want. That's your prerogative. But regardless, it's a day where everybody can take a moment, celebrate whatever they want to celebrate, and enjoy the fact that, similarly to gaming, I don't know, I'm trying to bring us back around. Similarly to gaming, it's a day where we can, kind of take our hats off, ignore the fact that the 9 to 5 grind is there, and don't think about bills for a day. Think about making a nice ham, spending time with family, maybe buying a couple of gifts for people, seeing the wonder on a child's face. This is what Christmas is to me, and it always has been. We'll get more into that in a minute when we start talking about Geeksmas 2023. But first, work-wise, I had mentioned things with Evil Genius, doing great. Wrapping up on a lot of projects right before the holidays, right before our little holiday break. Although yesterday did figure out, one of the production manager, or the production manager and myself, we were talking, and there is a very good chance that I might end up putting together an adventure sometime probably early next year, like the first half of the year, that will play on an idea that came up in a Discord conversation, because the idea is really cool, and while I can't do it as directly brought up in the conversation, I really want to do a version of it because it's very, very cool. I just have to work out the details. But everybody in the conversation, that like the corporate side of the conversation, we all went, man, that's a really cool concept. Let's do that. So I'm very excited about that. Going into the new year, we always have a bunch of projects that are like dangling, like waiting. Here we go. It's almost time. So I'm excited. I'm excited to jump into some new things, and one of those things I think is going to be tons of fun. It'll be a great product anyway, but I think that it's going to be just a massive amount of fun to put that many ideas into one project. So, of course I can't talk about it because, blah, 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 I can't talk about it. But it's going to be rad, and it's going to be a lot of really cool stuff that you can use with your Everyday Heroes games. Let's see, what else? I signed on to do some board game rule book mission fiction. That'll be fun. I think I actually dive in on that tonight when I'm done with regular studio work and before I go to the movie. So I'm excited about that. And then we announced the big announcement that came out, working with the artist Emily Hare, with her Strange Hollow series. I'm working with Accidental Cyclops, part of an amazing lineup of writers. We had our first kickoff meeting to talk about really what we're going to be doing with this amazing world, and I can't tell you enough that it is going to be I say the word fantastic a lot, but in this case I actually mean it in the way of high fantasy. It is a fantastical concept world. And I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing it unfold in real time. Also getting to work with Elisa and Keith Baker and Ed Greenwood and James Hake. Getting to work with there's a host of others as well. There's at least 4 or 5 other people that are on that project that I've never worked with before. So I'm really excited just to I know it's an extracurricular. I know it's in my spare time, but it is. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be a very, very fun project. And Emily is amazing. I've had several conversations with her now, where. I mean, I shouldn't say several. We've had some conversations about her world, and talked on Facebook a little bit about just in general some very, very cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to how that comes together. More on that in the future. Yeah. So let's bring it in. Before I jump into the actual topic of today's Geekmas, I want to tell you about. I want to tell you about my sponsor. No, so this isn't a sponsor, but this particular episode does have an unboxing element to it because I've been talking to this company for a while to try and show you more of their awesome stuff and really, really, really send you their way, because they are I would say the dream concept, but they are definitely they do what. They are ancillary products that you need for different reasons, but they've done it in a way to flavor it with games, to flavor it with geek culture, and kind of make that Venn diagram cross. So I've run into these guys lots of times. I've talked to them several times. This is the first time that they went ahead and said, okay, hey, let's send you some stuff that you can talk about, and over the next few months, every time that you see me drinking coffee, there's a hint who it is. Every time you see me drinking coffee on the stream, which I'm not today, I've just got a soda because I had poured it earlier this morning. But anytime you see me drinking coffee, it is going to be from the wonderful people at Smuggler's Coffee. And Smugglers, they're gamer related stuff. So they sent me a bunch of stickers. We've got little Death in a Coffee Cup. We have the Caffeined Club, based off of the Hellfire Club from Stranger Things, mixed with their own Smuggler's Coffee logo. And then this one is kind of a Grim Reaper-y. This one might be harder to see. Oh no, it's actually pretty easy to see. Kind of a Grim Reaper-y guy behind a tome, like he's telling stories. Yeah, so they sent me some stickers, but then they also sent me, more importantly for me, is they've sent me several pounds of coffee to show you the kind of like the stuff that they do. It goes even further than that. They're branching out into when I saw them at Alliance at the Alliance Open House, I talked to them and I was like, this is amazing. They worked with a disc golf company to create coffee scented plastic disc golf discs. I don't play disc golf, but if I did, having a bag full of coffee scented plastic, I think it's awesome. And of course, they've got hats and all the other kind of crazy stuff. I'll put the link in the description for you to go there if you want to buy stuff directly from them. But I want to show you the different kinds of coffee and give you the idea of what these guys do. Also, I have a cool thing that they talked about that they're almost ready to do that I'll tell you more about in a minute. So our first bag of coffee is called Elves with Murder Toys. Coffee beans aged in bourbon barrel from the Windmill Brewing. So they are local to us here in Indiana, and they found a brewery who gives them their bourbon barrels, and they age these coffee beans. I can't smell them because it's sealed. I just realized that. Duh. It's... You look at the art on that. It's just crazy. So they get these awesome artists, and then the coffee's also actually really good. I've had their stuff before, quite a bit. Otherwise, I wouldn't prop them up like this. Just because you're a nerdsy coffee company doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, hey, make sure that you drink this coffee. It's actually good stuff. What do we have? The Man in Black Rides Alone, a dark roast breakfast blend. And it's got that Grim Reaper-y style thing riding a wolf. Yeah, I think it's a wolf. Oh, their logo, that little like crossed spoons, Jolly Roger type thing. But their byline is drink coffee, crush skulls. Oh yeah. What else do we have here? Here we go. Here's the first D&D style themed. We have a medium roast with notes of vanilla, orange blossom, and cocoa. A morning coffee called +1 to Charisma. Again, I love the fact that they lean in. You know, they could have just made good coffee and then been like, yeah, okay, this is, you know, our morning blend, this is our, you know, whatever. But they leaned into what they themselves as the owners, what they like, what they enjoy. They enjoy gamer culture. They enjoy nerd culture. They enjoy kind of, you know, that kind of punk rock metal feel to some of these things. And they leaned into it for all of their naming conventions and all of their different logos and things. And then the last one that's probably the geekiest of them for this particular shipment. And I love a good pun. I love a good pun. It is a... Which one? This one... I think this is an exclusive. It is called A Brew Hope. That's right, Star Wars fans. They have a Star Wars coffee. I absolutely... I love what these guys do. And... when, especially going into the winter months, the cold Midwest winter, I'll be drinking a lot more coffee, and I'm very, very glad that they sent me those, and I wanted to express to you guys, I wanted to espresso to you guys, oh, bad puns, but I wanted to express to you guys that, those kinds of companies, small companies that lean into geek culture, that lean into the nerds, the nerdy fan bases and things, but they do so in a way that isn't just, well, if we slap Star Wars on it, it'll sell. You know, they do it in a way because they love the culture. They show up to the conventions. They play games themselves, I'm sure. I love the fact that is a thing, that is part of their business project or business program. And then throw in the fact that up in Dyer, Indiana, which is where they're based out of, up in Dyer, Indiana, they are opening I've been calling it a caffeine cafe, but I think that they had a different name for it. It's basically a like coffee bar that's very rustic looking. I know that they're going through like getting all the safety checks and getting everything. They're not open yet, but my plan here, and hopefully it all goes well, is that at some point when they are open, I'm going to go up to Dyer because it's not that far from me. It's maybe an hour and a half tops. I'm going to go up to Dyer, and we are going to have an episode, or at least a segment of an episode, recorded there at their site. Have a coffee, have a sandwich, talk to them about what's their newest and greatest things, and really kind of put up the Smuggler's flag, because I love what they're doing, and I want to support them in as many ways as I can. Speaking of which, so my relationship with them is not a sponsorship. They do not sponsor the show. They sent me a fun little care package to open to show you guys the stuff, and I'm pleading to you. My Christmas wish is for you guys to go to Smuggler's Coffee, to go to their website and order from them, whether it's a disc golf thing or a hat or a coffee mug or whatever you want to get for your coffee drinker in your life, or maybe even a hot cocoa drinker. I don't know, but show these guys some love. Show them that the Tales from a Professional Nerd fans, that we appreciate the fact that they appreciate geek culture, and that they will find even more business along the way by supporting them. So again, I'm not saying go buy $100 worth of coffee. I'm not saying go break the bank, and I'm definitely not saying tell them I sent you. I don't even care about that. Like I said, they're not a sponsor. I just want to show them some love, and that they should definitely feel the warmth from the nerd fan base out there, from the culture. They're leaning hard into it. We should push them back up to their feet and help them realize what a great concept that they have. That being said, Merry Geeksmas. All right. So I wanted to take, so here in a couple of days, it's Christmas, and I almost just said here in a couple of days, it's Christmas here in America. It's Christmas everywhere. I wanted to point out a few things. First and foremost, I want to thank whoever it was that sent me a couple of things off of my Amazon wish list that I've posted in the description. Plus one viewer who specifically, I don't know who. So sometimes I see who it comes from. Sometimes it's anonymous. I don't know. Someone who sent something to my Cash App. Thank you. I don't know who that was. I hope you're watching this. I hope you weren't just a weird one-off. But it is appreciated. You are. I can't ask for a better fan base. So thank you very much, whoever that was. And you helped with making sure that there was a better Christmas for my kids. So thank you very much, whoever you were. Yeah. So I wanted to go ahead and say to kind of do a whole what Christmas kind of means to me. I already talked a little bit about it earlier, where it's just time to spend with family. It's time to make to remind everyone, kind of a refresh button on, hey, things aren't that bad. in the same way that playing a game for a few hours kind of resets my brain, Christmas is a way for me to kind of say goodbye to the year. Yeah, I know there's still a week left and New Year's happens and all that stuff, but Christmas for me marks the kind of the end of the big events. I rarely do anything for New Year's Eve. Between the dogs and the kids are always with their grandparents. I yeah, Natalie and I would we like to go out and do stuff from time to time, but I'm not much of a go out to the bars kind of person anymore. I do at conventions because I take my day-to-day hat off, and at a convention it's just one long like event, so I don't see it the same way. But like when I'm home and I've got my bar here in the house, I would much rather have people over, play some games, enjoy some good company and some good company and some good food, than go out to a busy bar just to, count down at the end of the night and then get caught in traffic with a bunch of drunkards on the way home. So New Year's Eve is fun, but it's not a big thing for me. Christmas always has been. Christmas has always been a big moment for me. My parents, growing up, were always very, very big into. We often did our presents between the family on Christmas Eve, and then we would do Santa stuff Christmas morning. We would always walk over and have a wonderful time Christmas night or Christmas Eve night at my grandparents' house, who lived next door to us, and my uncle would come in, and we it was filled with family. So I'm gonna get weepy because most of those people that we had all of those wonderful Christmases with have passed on, and I wish I could foster that same kind of feel in my kids, but it's a little different. I don't live next door to my grandparents. I don't have my uncle. I don't have my sister. So my kid's aunt doesn't live on the property with us. It's not like that. And I'm a little sad about that. When they were little, it was easier because we would have the moments of getting the stockings in the morning, and we had all that stuff, and now it's a little more spread out. One of my kids is gonna be in Atlanta with their father for Christmas. One of my kids is gonna be with his mom for Christmas Eve / Christmas morning, and then we'll go and do something Christmas afternoon and have a nice dinner or something. We won't have Christmas with my mom and dad until like January because there's so many moving parts to get everybody together. So it's a little weird and it's a little different, but it's no less important to me. So one of the things that I have always been I've always been big on is I used to very much be like, God, I can't wait to see what someone's going to get me. And now that I'm older, and now that I've got kids, and now that I appreciate all of what my parents did for me for Christmas, all the special things that they did, it means so much more to me to try and do those things for my kids. And because I'm a big kid myself and I'm just a walking cartoon, that sometimes I go a little overboard. Sometimes I will, I'll hear over the course of the year, some of the fun things that the kids want, or I might pick up on that one of them has fallen in love with the concept of cooking. which tugs on my heartstrings as a foodie myself. So yeah, I might theme a bunch of Christmas presents. I might look at Natalie and go, hey, let's really try and support this concept of cooking and get them some nice cooking stuff. Let's make this happen. Seeing one of my kids turn into a little gamer. Obviously, last year we bought a bunch of dice and dice boxes, and we got a bunch of D&D stuff for one of them. It is, when I was little, it was action figures, it was toys, and Christmas is a time for me to, yeah, of course, there's always, well, you said you needed pants, so you get some pants. Oh, you said you needed this. Getting stuff someone needs is fine, but I always want to get things that I think they want. Things that will be fun for them. Practical, yay or nay. That's not necessarily the point. The point is to get things that I know that they will enjoy. And I want Christmas to be about opening something and going, ah, man, I needed that. Not that shouldn't be the first. That shouldn't be your first thought. Your first thought should be open up and go, whoa, that's cool. That's what I want. That's what I want out of Christmas, and that's what I like to do anytime that I buy stuff for people. So Natalie, my lovely wife, is very big into lists. Very big into Christmas lists, very big into, I need this, so I put on my list. I need this, so I put on my list. I need this, so I put on my list. And call me weird, I don't like buying things off of lists. I never have. I'm not going to be like, I think it's cheap. I think it cheapens the concept of you just telling me what you want so that I go out and get it. I would much rather think about someone, think about what I've seen them need, what I've seen them enjoy, watch them from outside looking in. And I know that not everyone can do that. Sometimes people can't pick up on those cues, and it's best to just buy a list or buy from a list, because you might not want to get something that they're not going to like. I hazard myself pretty good at judging people, weighing people, reading people. I'm good judging people too, but I like the idea of witnessing someone, knowing what they want. So, for instance, this year, I've already done it because I had a free weekend and I wanted to get it in. I know that Natalie has said multiple times that the illumination plus the airflow in our game room is terrible for any time that she's running D&D. And so one afternoon when she was gone, Connor and I put up a new ceiling fan that she didn't know that she was getting. That was her Christmas present. Yeah, it was early, and she won't have anything to open on Christmas Day. But it wasn't on a list. It wasn't something to tick off on a box. It was something that I heard her say that she wanted, needed, and would enjoy. I filed that away, and then I made it happen. That's my view of Christmas. That's my view of most gift giving, is that I would much rather be able to watch you and understand you and show you through my gift, not just to cross something off of the list that you need, but specifically you open it up and go, whoa, you were listening to me. You knew me. This is awesome. I want people to be excited because it shows that I care. And that encompasses my whole concept of Christmas, is showing each other that you care through gift giving and spending time and doing fun things and playing games and eating food. And that's my Christmas all wrapped up in a nutshell. So this particular year, things have been great. Work has been good. Yeah, there's stress, but I look forward to next year, not just because of projects and things. We'll talk more about that in next week's episode. Kind of when I look back and forward, when I do the top 5 things. That's next week's episode, by the way. But it's I'm It's been a good year. It's had some ups and downs, obviously. And going into next year, I am excited for some of the cool stuff that I get to share with you guys. And I'm hoping that next year is easier on everybody, collectively included. So I don't have a lot of, I mean, I know I've been pontificating, but I want to tell you a fun story. I want to tell you a fun Santa story. And I don't think in the past 200 some odd episodes that I've done of this, I don't think I've told this story before, but I want to tell you the story, my best and my most clear moment of Christmas joy that I can remember. And it was definitely a Geekmas thing. It was because it was toys from when I was little. So I already mentioned that for Christmas Eve we would go over to my grandparents' house, which was next door, and we would have our big dinner and sit around, and we'd open a bunch of presents, and we'd have a great time. And then you would stay up late, and then we'd come back over to our house, sleep, and then more than likely go back to Grandma's house for like family breakfast, and then back to our house to open up the Santa gifts under the tree. And I remember very clearly that my dad, I had to have been very little. I had to have been less than 7 years old, because that was when my dad divorced my mom and they moved apart. So because Dad was still around. We had our Christmas Eve. It was wonderful. We came home super exhausted, fell asleep, whatnot, and then the following morning, it was really early, and my mom basically like ushered us out of the house to go over and have like pancakes and waffles and stuff over at Grandpa's house. And while we were excited, we saw all the stuff under the tree. Oh my God, Santa came, everything was great. We didn't stop to really look at a bunch of stuff. We just sort of saw it. And it was so early in the morning, that we just headed over to Grandpa's house and had breakfast. And then when we came back from my grandpa's house, we walked into the front door. That was when my eyes fell on what was sitting on the couch. Apparently, as I was told later, it was sitting on the couch the whole time, and I just didn't notice because we just walked through the living room to go to Grandpa's house. Was the original Castle Grayskull, the playset. And it was completely put together. It was not in the box. It wasn't just a box with a ribbon on it. It was completely put together. It was opened up. It was sitting on the couch. And my Masters of the Universe, my He-Man figures were all over it in mid, like, action scene. And I remember my heart just jumping up and just getting this giant warm feeling of, oh my gosh. It wasn't just, oh my gosh, it's Castle Grayskull. Because I had wanted that. It wasn't, oh my gosh, that's my, that's my number one present. Wow. It was, oh my gosh, Santa was playing with my toys. My toys are playing on Castle Grayskull. And it was, that feeling of Christmas morning magic is the reason why I love Christmas. I mean, like, hands down, is the reason why I love Christmas, and the way that the reason I feel the way that I do about all things Christmas when it comes to kids is I can't say that that's the reason I got into the game industry, but I can say that it is definitely one of the things that helped instill that concept of wonder, and that concept of magic through play, through gameplay, through imagination, was not just that, oh hey, Santa ran down to KB Toys and bought a Castle Grayskull, but no, it was more. It was actually ready to rock and roll. There were no, in my little tiny kid head, there wasn't that half an hour of taking everything out of the box and getting it unwrapped and getting batteries in it and all. None of that was there. It was the fat man in the red suit took that out of his bag, sat it down, and through his magic, my He-Man toys came to life and were playing on Castle Grayskull, waiting for me to show up and play with them. That's what hit me. And I took that feeling with me for the rest of my life. That's what I wanted. It's one of the reasons why when my kids were little, and I still even to this day, I firmly believe in, when it comes to Christmas, there's a handful of things we prefer to get a couple of gifts, a couple of handful of things for the kids each, but then we get one kind of like, this is your benchmark present. This is the kind of the year's been ramping up to this. Here's this cool thing, and that tradition, that concept has. There's no question where it came from. It came from that Grayskull moment. It came from that Castle Grayskull moment for me. Is I will never forget the Christmas that I woke up to my Castle Grayskull waiting for me. And I have always been, every Christmas, I'm sure, I'm hoping that my kids will remember some of those big benchmark gifts like I remember Castle Grayskull. I don't know if they will. I can't speak for them. I can't speak for how important it was to them. I know it's important to me. And it is hard with the fact that the kids are growing up and they don't have that same magic that they did when they were younger. It's not the same feeling for them. And I remember getting to that point too. I remember being a teenager. I remember Christmas morning as a teenager being like, cool, socks and deodorant. It was not, it wasn't the same kind of magic, but I still had that feeling there of, this is, the year has come to a close with this sort of show of love for one another. And I'm hoping, knock on wood, that I'll get to relive some of those feelings through Connor, through Asa, to their kids, should they have any. I'm hoping for that. I try not to cry. I'm trying to get through a whole talk about Christmas and family without getting weepy. I am hoping that I get to relive that at least one more time, with seeing that magic on little kids' faces. That's what I'm hoping. All right, I know this was a weird episode. I mean, between an unboxing of awesome coffee and me waxing poetic about what Geekmas means to me, I want to leave you with the happy thoughts. I want you to enjoy the holiday. I know the holidays are hard for some people. I really do, and I'm not trying to say that whatever you're dealing with is unimportant, or that feeling good at Christmas should be more important. Honestly, for some people, the best gift that we can give them is just understanding that they made it. They made it to this point. And if you're out there, especially if you're watching this, I told my kid that I would do something in this episode. Apparently, the YouTube algorithm, if you tell your fans to subscribe, that the little button glows or something. I don't know. So please like, subscribe, ring the dingy bell, share it with your friends. Get more people to talk about awesome things with your friends here at Tales from a Professional Nerd. So I will leave you with this. I mean, I always leave you with the normal, play some games and leave every room a little happier than when you got there. That's all, and be safe. That's all the same. All that aside, I just want you guys, all of you folks, to know that it means the world to me that you take the time to watch my silly little shows, and that that you click on the links that I put in there, that you support some of the people that help support the channel, that some of you support the channel directly by doing Cash App and PayPal and Amazon stuff and all that thing, and all that stuff aside. Thank you to my sponsors. Thank you to Turbodoor, to Sobranti. I appreciate everything that you guys send to me, do on my behalf, and I just really, my Merry Geeksmas moment for this year is we did 200 episodes. We're up to 216 plus some extras. I never thought I would do this. I never thought that I would go this far, and that it wasn't just a way for me to stay out of my own head. Hopefully, I've been helpful. Hopefully, that this has been a good thing. So, Merry Geeksmas to all of you. Happy holidays. Please, please, please be safe. Just, again, leave every room a little more merry than when you got there. See the holiday version. And you know how it is. Just play some games. We will see you next week. Bye, guys.